G'day listeners and race fans, and welcome to another episode of the Round Bar Supercars Podcast, the podcast by the punters on the hill for the punters on the hill. I'm Bails and I've got Matty and Marshy on the line. The podcast is a part of the Round Bar channel family. You can find us by searching the Round Bar channel on Facebook. You're listening in on Podbean, Spotify or Apple Podcasts. All the links will be in the show notes, and there might even be a sneaky YouTube link in there too, depending on how things go here, fellas. A big shout out to our friends at Biti Motors Pty Ltd, Cobrapparel and Membrey's Auto Electrics for coming on board and supporting the pod. Marshy, welcome, my friend.
G'day, boys. It's good to be back.
Absolutely. G'day, Matty.
G'day. I think it's Bails and Marshy, isn't it? That's the yeah. Been long.
Put name tags on.
I don't think that'll be the last time, the length of time this pod between Supercars rounds gets a mention. A few news cycle headlines to chew through. Of course, gents, if you've got anything on your mind, please shout out as well. But first and foremost, we've had a month since our last pod, and this news, some of this news will have happened some time ago now, but Vale Bo Seaton, Glenn's dad, left us a few weeks ago, and there was a fitting tribute to Bo as well. Bathurst 1000 winner in his own right, and engine builder, and just an all-round good guy around the paddock over a lot of years, and supported Glenn all the way through, and I'm sure took great joy in watching Aaron come through as well. Dirt has been turned on Perth's new street track, which is really exciting. They're on the Burswood Peninsula in Perth. As requested by one podcaster in this pod, Supercars will introduce stricter driving cooling suits and driver cooling rules, full stop. So that's one for you, Marshy. Matty Payne's had a little misfortune, done himself some mischief and fallen off his mountain bike. And got himself a little wrist injury, not quite as bad as SVG's efforts some years ago. Mostert's going to have a race in the IMSA series over in the States. He's going to have a run in Detroit in a Lexus. Bathurst Regional Council have published their sort of grant slash spend wish list, looking at resurfacing the track, increase the fencing to sort out the skippies, and also some electronic warning systems in that space. And I know that we've touched on a couple of those across the journey. And as we record this pod, there's about 3.5 hours left in the Nürburgring 24 hours. And the last time I checked, which was just before we recorded, Big Maxi Verstappen in his Red Bull Mercedes AMG GT3 was winning. Shock me. He is. Marshy, you want to pick over any of that or anything that's taken your fancy since we last recorded?
Not really. I think you pretty well hit the nail on the head with most stuff, like the cool suit. I don't think that's not going to be an issue down in Tasmania this weekend.
No.
You might want a heated suit, so and really want to be cooking because you'll be pretty fresh down there. But no, nothing else really. I think I've got on here the Tickford are running. They've built their own car finally, or their own chassis. So that's pretty cool. That's going to be interesting to see how that rolls out. And I think Tommy Randall gets his later in the year as well, so which will be interesting. And then I think also Erebus had done the same with Cooper Murray, giving him a new car. So that'll be interesting to see how that rolls out as well. But other than that, not too much on the news cycle. I did see a little video clip, though, of Max within that. He was passing someone and another in-car camera was like, doo-doo-doo-doo, as he goes past him. It's like, oh, God. That's hilarious. But no, nothing, not too much out of the news cycle. Hopefully the Bathurst spending is used wisely.
Well, they got to get it yet, so we'll see. They've created a fairly big wish list for the old grant. Matty?
Yeah, my only one was the Bathurst spending. I thought that was pretty cool to pop up and to start to hear like all the different campgrounds saying, oh no, we want this, and then people that obviously kind of camp down the bottom, they're like, oh no, we'd love it to be like this. And I think each year we go to Bathurst, we always kind of sit there and say, oh, we want tiered kind of hillsides and a few better, maybe some better amenities for the camps at the top. But I don't know, I think I think just the fact that there's discussion about Bathurst getting more money to improve the facilities is a good thing. It must bring huge money to the town. So it's great to hear they're getting behind it and really trying to take it to the next level. So yeah. Nothing else from me.
Was there I think it was on Motorsport 360, they discussed the calendar in regards to the 12-hour and how some big names could potentially fit into that as well?
Well, it'll run on the same weekend as it did this year, so that second weekend in February, which also will pop it there pretty close to Valentine's Day again this year, if that affects you. Look, hopefully they can get some consistency with it, find a gap in world motorsport, and draw some of those names as well. It'd be awesome. There's talk even of it going GT3, a solely GT3 race, and sort of taking out the class component of it. And there's positive and negative around that, but the classes probably, or the lower classes probably haven't been as well supported in the last couple of years. And at the same time, the GT3 numbers have grown. So there's a bit of chat around, the speed differentials now and what that means for the race. But they've also announced, as a part of that date announcement last week, that it will expand to 4 days. So we'll have track action from Thursday, which then sort of, there's been seeds planted in the past around a GT4 having their own race, maybe a 3 or a 4 hour enduro on the Saturday afternoon or on the Saturday or something like that. So I think this is definitely a step heading that way. What they fill that track time with, I'm not sure, but there is loads of probably unused time up there across that 12-hour weekend. Things are just at a steadier pace than probably a Supercars weekend. So I'd love to see that. It'd be awesome. And the GT4 Australia numbers are huge. So the general consensus seems to be that those guys and girls don't really want to fork out the money for the 12-hour in terms of 12 hours of racing and everything that goes with that. But also it's pretty sketchy if you're driving a GT4 across the top of the mountain considerably slower than,
GT3.
Some of the world's best GT3 drivers, and they appear out of nowhere as you're crossing Skyline or whatever. I'd be panicking, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, I think in that list that they threw up, they said in regards to F1 potential, that might be the testing or leading into testing week for them. So you could get a Max, or you could get, I think Lance Stroll was on there, but obviously any F1 driver could be there. I don't know if Lance would throw his hat in the ring, but...
Well, he's had a go in GT3s. That's why his name would have been on that list.
That's fair enough.
There'd be 100,000 people there if Max turns up.
Oh, imagine if you could get him there. He would love to do it.
Of course he would.
Loves driving. You see him in the Nürburgring at the moment. He'll just want to drive it one day. So.
And he'd just have bucket lists of circuits from all over the world.
Yeah. Imagine him on the sim. He'd just be straight on, just seeing how he goes. He's flat. Okay. But no, that's it from me. No.
And Matty wrapped his up as well. So we'll cruise on in, gents and listeners, into the Tyrepower Super 440 preview. Our upcoming race meeting at Symmons Plains Raceway, just out of Launceston in Tasmania. 2.4 kilometres is the journey around the circuit. Our 2025 results included 2 wins for Brock Feeney and 1 win to Matty Payne. Not much happening early in the week, as is generally the case, but on Wednesday there is a fanfare community event in Devonport, so if you get yourself out to there, that's actually shifted this year out to Devonport. On Thursday, Supercars are going to turn up at the Hawthorn and Adelaide match that's being played down there, and they're going to do some activations outside the ground. I'm sure they'll get in and have a bit of a look-see as well before the race meeting proper begins on Friday. For the Supercars, we've got 2 by 25-minute practice sessions at 2:05 and 2:45 respectively. On Saturday, we've got back-to-back qualifying sessions, 10 a.m. and 10:50 a.m. for the race 14 and race 15, brought to you by Boost Mobile. At 1 o'clock. First race for the weekend, 50 laps around Symmons Plains for race 14 of the championship. A little bit later in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, Another 50 laps around Tasmania or around Simmons Plains for race 15. And should we get to that start without any weather or dramatic interference, that will be Tasmania's 100th Supercars race, which is pretty cool to tick off the list, being on the calendar effectively since the inception. Roll on into Sunday, 11:30, 5 a.m. Boost Mobile qualifying for race 16. Top 10 shootout at 12:30 for race 16. And then our final race over 84 laps on Sunday afternoon, kicking off at 2:45 p.m. All Eastern Australian standard times there for those listening at home. And our support categories, good lineup: TCM, Battery World Aussie Racing Cars, the Tassie Tin Tops, which is basically if you've got a car in Tassie and you want to run it, you bring it and get in there, and the Tyrepower V8 Super Utes. Awesome weekend down in Tassie.
It does look good.
Also got some drift demos, BMX show, Kids Zone, pit lane walks, aerobatic displays, signing sessions, helicopters, merch, and a jet fly pass. So all happening at Simmons Plains. What are you looking forward to, Matty?
Well, I think we're going to get Simmons Plains is a bit of a fun track, right?
It's great.
I think we're shorter laps. I reckon it's going to encourage. Well, you're going to have to be brave down there to overtake. So that's something I can remember from last year, that people that had a real crack went well, but you could just sit in the pack very easily and not make much space. So that's the bit that I'm really excited about. After a couple of weekends where you could feel the racing in the mid pack was really tight, I reckon this could be a good weekend for that.
For sure, absolutely. Good chance to get back to what do they call it? The lamb chop, the old shape of the track down there. A lot of people affectionately know it as. Look, we've got turn 4, we've got hard stops off the back of long straights. Big braking zones, overtaking passes, overtaking opportunities in multiple places around the track. The short lap puts pressure on the pit stops. That's just a couple of things. What about you, Marshy? What are you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to just the chaos that it does bring as well. It looks like a basic, boring track when you look at it, like as a track layout, but that hairpin just causes absolute havoc and destruction. I think, going back a few years ago, there was absolute carnage that went through Tasmania for some of those, and then, so that's what I'm looking forward to. And that hard racing, especially going down that back straight after the hairpin, there's a lot of pushing, shoving, trying to get that inside line to get to that next corner.
The next one.
And we watch blokes just get bumped off. I think last year too, watching Feeney and Matty Payne just holding out Feeney in that sort of lap. I can't remember if it was that last race where they were so close together for the second one with Feeney anyway that he had for that year. Was really good racing, and obviously that pit strategy that we talked to with Jack Bell in regards to like how they worked around it and got there in the end. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to that we are back. We are definitely back for once. So yeah, but bringing up with the Tasmania thing, I think they're the only second track in Australia to bring up 100. I think, is it Wanneroo has got the other?
Yeah, that rings a bell for sure, Marshy. Yep.
Yeah, so that's pretty good for Tassie to bring up 100 supercars races, considering there are a lot of tracks around that we use consistently. But for Tassie, that's a good effort. So well done to them, and I dare say they'll be celebrating. Hopefully we can get to that race 15 on Saturday afternoon without any issues.
Yeah, if you said to the average maybe 20 to 25-year-old supercars follower, which track do you think's hosted the most rounds or races in championship history?
I don't think you're going to pick Simmons Plains.
Probably not. No, probably not at all. I think a couple of things to keep a watch on will be the Camaros. They've gone well there. They will have, I guess, some strong data in that space. But what do the changes that were made at Christchurch look like? And this was something you effectively brought up or touched on in the last pod, Marshy, around they've made these changes at Christchurch, but they had nothing to compare it to. So now we're going to Simmons Plains to see whether those changes have been effective or not. And in the meantime, Team 18 have been out and about doing a little bit of work with supercars on trying to get some baseline around that as well. So I'm sure it'll get talked about at nauseum, at least over the first couple of days. And then it'll be a bit of a watch on what happens after that, I guess.
Does that bring it though? Then like we've got parity with the Camaros, but gee, I'll tell you who's back on behind the 8 ball as well as BJR, like in the Toyotas. Like if it wasn't for Ryan Wood, I think we've discussed this already. If it wasn't for him doing well, are we going to parity with those as well?
Yeah, and it's so hard to tell, and it's not a new idea or anyone's idea. Do we have technical parity across the cars, but the sporting parity across the teams and drivers make it borderline impossible to tell once we get down to the minute differences we're talking about now? And I don't even know if you can answer that.
I don't think you can, because like the changes they're putting on are ridiculous. Like,
sorry, Matty, you have a crack?
Well, you can't look at Brad Jones Racing and say, oh, just because they're a new car, but they have been struggling for a long time. I think you've got to like Walkinshaw have tuned up a couple of Toyotas and they're doing real well. So I don't know. I don't think you can go that deep to say it's more of a sporting gap there, like you said. And I don't know. I feel for Brad Jones Racing. Like they really give it a crack, and they've got all the spirit and everything they should have to be amongst it. They just can't get a bloody result. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've enjoyed not hearing about parity too much. And it seems like
it's because you went overseas for 2 rounds.
Yeah, he didn't have to hear it.
No, I watched a bit of that actually. It wasn't that bad. But look, I don't know. I feel like we need to be. If there is a genuine issue, then supercars, just like last year, they need to go and put them in the testing facility, work out if it's real, or actually kind of put it to bed. Because I don't know, I don't want to hear about it for the next 6 months. I want to see some sweet racing of cars.
Do you think this is no one's probably going to do this at all? But do you think, say, at the end of the season, get the top 4 drivers and put them all through those 3 sets of cars and actually see, righto, is it the driver or is it the car?
You can do that.
Do you know what I mean? And then you go, righto, what inequality do we have? Well, no, it's not the car, it's the person behind the wheel. Like if you're sitting at the same times, that's what you should do.
Yeah, the wind tunnel should do that, right? Because if you've got different drivers that are pushing power and gear changes differently and trying to come out of corners differently, like that's just the variability between drivers. But you should be able to put them in a wind tunnel and work out where they're good and where they're not good, and look at all the graphs that pop out of those things. Like, geez, the last thing we want to be doing is trying to get drivers to prove parity. Like, it's a machine, right? You should be able to work that out.
Yeah,
maybe I don't think you can.
I don't know.
Just some thoughts.
You love that P word, bud. You love it.
Well, I don't love it. I bloody hate it. Just like bloody so much talk about tires.
All right. So I guess the watch then is probably Team 18. You know, Davey's probably had an up and down year. So where does Anton fit? He's been going okay. And then effectively you're throwing out where does MSR land, who have done well there in the past with Jack LeBrock. Yeah. So they're probably as good at indicators as we're going to get from the Chevrolet side of things. Clearly, Woody, you've already mentioned, is going to be out in front there. Chaz has probably been grateful for the break, I would imagine. Maybe just sort of cool his jets a little bit after Christchurch. Although apparently him and Brody, went to the pub and had a drink or something, and they're sweet, and they probably are. But he'll be keen to put his best foot forward, because at the moment Wood is toweling him up a little bit there at Walkinshaw. And then it's a battle of the Mustangs. So Wheel Groves continue their form. They had a pretty stellar run there at Christchurch. Matty Payne almost winning all 4 races. And then, Kai Allen's on a bit of a charge. We've got our 2 Red Bull crew. and the Mustangs coming out of Tickford, they got a new one on the way. Or as Marshy sort of said, mind you, the original idea of Gen 3 was that there'd be like one person building all those chassis. And it's just grown the whole way along. So, and there's been a little bit of chat lately about the costs sort of blowing out on those, but I don't think it's possible to not blow out. It's a racing car and we want to go fast and things cost money. Anyway, I digress. Unless you guys have anything else to throw at any of that.
No, the only one I'm keen to see DJR this weekend. They've been building. Kostecki's been aggressive, and I'm excited to see what they bring. And I haven't been excited about DJR for years, so that's cool, and I like that. So I reckon we might be in for a big weekend of some Kostecki real aggression and pushing through the pack, getting him out in front.
Well, I hope we do see that, Matty. And our Simmons Plains Tyrepower Super 440 preview brought to you, our listeners, by Cobrapparel. And we'll hear from them briefly before hooking into the rest of the pod. Alrighty, fellas, time to crack open one of the fan favourites, and it's Membrey's Auto Electrical Spark It or Park It. Sparking things that we want to give a bit of kudos to, that we're happy with, want to let everyone know about it, and parking the things that we'd rather not see, or we'd like them to go away, or someone just fix it. So, alrighty. Pushing off the fence to open the bowling for this one will be Marshy. What have you got for us, pal?
Oh, little in-swingers, I reckon. Righto. So I have my Spark It, so I'm trying to get it up. So I reckon we need to go back to air freight.
What are you trying to do, mate?
Spark It. Get it up. Hey, get it going. You don't need the innuendo, mate, okay? No, so I think we need to bring air freight back on the table. This is ridiculous for how long between the rounds. Or my other thought was, if we're going to do the shipping thing, I did love the back-to-back round, but maybe is there a week between it? So then we're not dragged out so much. Does that make sense? So have round one at Taupo and then have a week's rest and then go round two at Christchurch. You're already over there. The cars are over there. It just seems such a long time to have to wait for another round. We become unimportant. So that's my Spark It. So I don't know, either fly the cars over or fly them back in one way, or switch the round up in some way, shape, or form. But I don't know. 4 weeks is ridiculous, and I know we've talked about it 1,000 times. My Park It is, I think we're going to park. We have to park now. I think the Chaz and Kostecki, you brought it up about 5 minutes ago there, Bails. They were out. They had, I think Chaz or Brody had a bit of a party, and they were all, there was Woody, there was Will Brown, there was a fair few of them.
All there on the Gold Coast having a good time.
They were all there having a good time together. So I think the bad blood or whatever we all sort of made of it, I don't think it's there at all anymore. I think they've sort of, that part's gone. So I'm going to park that one. I know we threw up there, poor old Chazzy in a Dodgem car, and got a fair bit of traction. But yeah, I think that one's well and truly probably gone. So those two boys will get back on with racing. They won't hold a grudge and they'll be ready to go. But hopefully they still race aggressively, but just not that silly.
Oh, they're hard as cat's eyes. So
absolutely.
They'll keep going at it.
So that's my Spark It and Park It.
Nice one, Marshy. Matty, what have you got for the listeners?
Oh, hopefully something that's not as hard as cat's eyes. Those things are bloody the devil. All right. So I'll start with the Spark It. The young guns again. They just keep coming through. They keep doing the job. We've got some real consistent drivers coming through as well. So I think I'd even love V8 supercars to maybe get behind that and try and give it a bit of oomph to say, look at these young guns. They are coming through. They're doing awesome things, and kind of the young gun, the old bull, and give it a give it a bit of media. So that's the spark it. The park it. I know we kind of said we wouldn't keep talking about it, but I don't know. So I don't know any other sport that has such other than like maybe tennis, but golf doesn't even have that long between major events. So I reckon these long gaps between races, I know it's logistics and I know it all depends on certain things, but we've got to keep things going in between. I feel like supercars are really, like they almost crescendoed at the end of New Zealand, and now we're starting from scratch again. It's like we're gonna fight for TV space off the kids again because they forgot what V8 supercars was. So I think we just have to think about something that fills the gap. It may not even be the races. Like maybe it's a couple of weeks of, I don't know, getting some of the drivers to do some activations and drive some other cars or something, but just get us some content that can keep it going. So that's the park the long gaps.
I did see too, Matty, that obviously we're not going to be, well, Melbourne's picked not to be the opening round for the F1, so that's going to stuff some of the scheduling up as well.
Oh, was it?
I think the
round 3, I'm pretty sure.
About round 3, so that's going to be interesting to see where certain races get parked and put.
That'll be interesting, yep.
Yeah, especially with logistics and people signing on and going, oh, this is where we usually have our race and this is the weekend we do it and stuff. But yeah, I agree, we are becoming obsolete if we don't continue to be in people's TVs or in front of people's faces.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Bailey? What have you got?
Yep. So my Spark It, something that had been of our existence. No, not wasn't that extreme. But on our radar over the last few years, or since we've been doing the pod, is that the Triple Crown is a Triple Crown. So we did get there a little bit last year, but we've got a 100-kilometre race this year on the Friday afternoon, and then 2 200-kilometre races on the Saturday and the Sunday. So they've sort of eked out the Triple Crown into its own little, format. It'll be over 500 Ks over the weekend rather than sort of the 440 format that we've had for over these sort of sprint races, which is good. So I'm stoked with that. So, well done, Supercars. Keep that up and make that happen. And the winner will be the person that gets the most points over the weekend in those races. So, which is a really important addition to that as well. My Park It, making it 3 from 3 here on the pod, is the long break. I actually coped okay with it on the way to New Zealand. I don't know why. Maybe there were other bits and pieces or other motorsports sort of filling that gap for me. But I've really struggled since Christchurch. I think, I put on our chat earlier in the week that I'd basically just dropped the ball on the whole thing until maybe Tuesday. And that's because I knew we had a pod coming up and that, they were racing in, 10 days' time. So, all the things that you guys have already said. There's been a little bit of chat, on and off for a number of years, questions about Super 2 standalone rounds. That gap in between would be perfect. Take it to somewhere like a Winton or a Malala or Queensland Raceway, and take the other supercar support categories with them and give them a bit of airtime.
Yeah.
Now, give them a bit of love rather than always them, the ones getting their schedule cut or laps cut or, whatever, parking out the back, give them a bit of love. Like this, it's been on other pods as well, I will admit, but, the Super 2 guys and girls over the years pay an absolute fortune, and they race at City Motorsport Park and they won't race again until Darwin.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
That's out of control. Fill it, just one. If you're going to have the 4 week, you just only need one in the middle. That gives you 2 week break on your content. So looking to fill that gap with something supercars related. Otherwise, the market's actually going to fill it for you, and that's happened this time round. So we've had the AASA, Marcus Ambrose have jumped on board, and they ran some short track nationals under lights at Sydney Motorsport Park, put prize money up, ran a heap of competitor grassroots motorsport, and
Isn't-
people turned out, but supercars people turned out. There were speedway people who, some of the top level speedway guys went and had a run because they ran legend cars, and legend cars run on clay in the speedway, but they also run on tarmac. So they've done a really great activation there, sticking them, not that these guys really drive the legend cars on the dirt, but they got them across. Yeah, and in that gap as well, we had the TA2 crew, which is the, I guess it's the second level of the Trans Am racing. So it's not the national series; it's more of a state or Eastern Seaboard based kind of situation, where they had their little mini enduro weekend as well. So that's where everyone's eyeballs are going. So not that those two last examples are ever going to be to the stature of supercars, but they're going to fill the gaps. So, there could be something there, something in it. But I was the same as you guys. You've got to do something about it. Just has to be done, and I think it will. I think it will be for next year. So that brings us to an end of Membrey's Auto Electrical Spark It or Park It, and we'll be back pretty shortly to hear a little bit from overseas and to bring this one home. Righto, crew, time to get into the third and final segment of the pod. But before I hand it over to Marshy for his international musings and comment, I just wanted to have a couple of notes on the speedway front. One of them was Matt Stone Racing Super 2 driver Anton Hodson had a crack in a sprint car up in Queensland, one of the 360 LS classes. Unfortunately had a right front stub break. The wheel departed. Obviously the front right then dips down and dug into the track and sent him over and over and over. There's some pretty epic fan on the hill footage from that, but luckily Anton walked away from that. And just a reminder just how dangerous motorsport can be. And on the flip side, on the speedway, Cam Waters had a run in his brother's modified sedan out at Mildura, so he's filling his time in with a bit more of a run back on the clay, and he had a win in the Mercedes-shaped modified sedan. So just wanted to throw those couple out there. And just a quick one, there's some clay chat on its way, listeners. So keep an eye here in this feed for a little bit of clay chat action over the next month or so. All right, Marshy, one for you, pal.
Righto, so some international. There hasn't really been too much, but it's always going to come flooding in next week. But there is a little bit of racing. So since our last pod, we've had our F1. So we went to Miami, which they had to change due to they thought torrential rain was going to happen. So there's no point us having wet tyres anymore because nobody races in the wet apparently. But interesting, every single race that Oscar Piastri has started in so far this championship, obviously he had the two DNSs at the first two rounds. He has finished on the podium. So that is good for Oscar. So in the sprint race at Miami, Oscar finished second and Liam Lawson finished 14th. And in the Grand Prix, Oscar finished third, but Liam Lawson DNF'd. They head to Canada this coming weekend, which will be cool as well. In the IndyCar, they've only had really one race between. They are going to be racing tomorrow, which is Monday, because we're recording on a Sunday, at the Indianapolis 500. But they've got weather issues as well. So they've only had practice 1, 2, 3, and 4. No qualifying as of such due to rain. I just checked that on the phone to make sure. But I think Scott McLaughlin was coming third at practice 4. So I may be incorrect with that, but I'll just have to double check. But yeah, so hopefully, but no qualifying as of yet. They've cancelled that part. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. We'll have to wait and see. But they raced at Soncio for the Grand Prix. In the IndyCar, Scotty Dixon got a 6th, Marcus Armstrong got an 11th, Will Power 13th, and Scotty Mack 16th. So not real strong there for Scotty Mack, but the other boys still pushing through. Then we move our eyes over to some NASCAR. So when we finished the pod last time, we were heading to Talladega, so for some shake and bake, which is fantastic. SVG started 33rd there and finished 20th. So he's made up 13 spots, which is awesome. In Texas, he started 30th and finished 17th. And then in an amazing show of racing style and just true craftsmanship of being able to handle a machine, SVG at Watkins Glen started pole and finished first. That race was insane. Pitted on, I think there was 20 laps to go, fell 29 seconds behind, and caught them with 8 laps to go. And then still finished 7 seconds in front. Like, just, I don't know. And yet they go, road racing's boring, it's not nothing. Yep, you all just got schooled. Like, literally got schooled.
It isn't the main show. Like, it's always going to be the oval, but the quality of his racing was just wildly good.
It was interesting when you listen to the commentary of the NASCAR commentators going, nah, he's too far back, he's not going to make it. And then he got up to, I think, the 8th car, and they're like, oh, geez, hang on, he's coming here. He was taking 3 seconds out of the leaders in every lap. Like, crazy. That's ridiculous. Absolutely crazy. And I think Connor Zilic did the exact... in the previous...
The O'Reilly series.
In the O'Reilly series, the day before, they went the same strategy, and he came through and did the same thing. So, just SVG's on a different planet with those road courses. So, that's good, though. That keeps him... I think that keeps him in the 16 as well. That keeps him he's just in there, which is fantastic. Obviously, it's not a win it and you're in anymore. You've got to be the top 16. So, but well done, SVG. I think I haven't had a look today if they're racing. I think they are racing this weekend. I have to have a look. I didn't really research that one, so sorry for people. But that's it for international. I'm good.
Oh, good. Not a problem at all, Marshy. And that brings us to an end of this episode, listeners. A big thanks to our episode sponsors, Biti Motors Cold Can, Cobrapparel, and Membrey's Auto Electrical. Don't forget to search us on Facebook, searching the Round Bar channel, listening in on Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. All the links are in the show notes. But for now, everyone, enjoy your racing.